Hi, I'm Kelly and welcome to Kapowski Reads, and it is time for my August TBR. If you're new, hello. I choose my TBR based on a game. I put my fate into the hands of dice. Dice do not have hands, but let's pretend they do. And my game is super straightforward. I just roll a dice, move a little cat and pick a book according to whatever prompt I land on. There is a playlist on my page for anybody who wants to go back to the beginning or see any more of these. I usually start off by saying how well I got on with last month's prompts, but I am going to do that. However, this month's reading has been a lot slower for me. I've just not had the brain for it, and so we'll go through it together. But I know I've not completed my July TBR, so it's a bit of a fail. But oh well. I only had 4 rolls in July. It's not going well. First was The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. I have not finished this book. It was a NetGalley pick. I've not finished it, but I have started it and I am maybe 20% into it, and it's so cozy and it's so charming and it's so lovely, and I think I will have it finished by the end of July. I hope. That's the goal. Roll 2 was a seasonal read and I had Summer by Ali Smith, which I read, loved, vlogged. I have a reading vlog for this book, so evidence that I've read it. Rule number 3 was a non-fiction and I had Consumed by Aja Barber. I have read this, I finished it. It was really just thought-provoking, really interesting, and I had it on audiobook, so it was quite nice to have that on while I pottered around and did other things, but it was very informative and I highly recommend it. A very good read. This was recommended to me by Charlotte, so good recommendation. Really enjoyed it. And the last roll was a free pick, which was A Cat, a Witch by Neddy Okafor, which I'm looking at. That book. It's directly behind me, unread. I put a bookmark in the front though to say, look, I'm gonna get to you, but I have not started it. I'm hopeful that I will get to it before the end of the month. There's still a couple of days to go, but I don't know. I have the fear that, why am I closing my book? I need my book. I have the fear that I'm not going to get to it, and I really want to because I really want to read it, and I put it off especially for this month. So I feel I have to and I want to. So let's hope I get to. Let's go on to August's rolls and see how kind the board is feeling towards me this month, considering my reading has been super slow. Let's see. This is my August TBR game, and there's a plane flying over. Roll number 1. A 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, a yellow. Title starts with the last letter of the previous pick. Roll number 1, we are off to a smashing start. A book that the title begins with the last letter of the previously picked book. I can't do this. I'm going to put a pin in this and come back to this at the end, because I haven't picked any books yet. What a silly prompt I picked to start with. Roll number 2. 1. Blue, which is a name in the title. Roll number 2, much better, blue, and that was a book with a name in the title. I am going with Maggie and Me, which is by Damien Barr, and this is a non-fiction book about a man growing up gay in the 1980s under Thatcher's rule in Glasgow. And this book has been, again, highly recommended to me by a whole gaggle of people, so I'm very much looking forward to it. And kind of unexpected that I would start with a non-fiction, but I really want to read this, so I'm going to. Roll number 3 is 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A free pick. Rule number 3 was a free pick, and I am going to go with The Last Shield by Cameron Johnston. This book is an ARC. This is the first ever physical advanced reader copy that I have ever received that like even says on it, like, it's not out yet. And it's a delightful paperback. This was sent to me very kindly by Angry Robot, who sent me this gorgeous letter that basically said, hey, you like this kind of book, do you like books by Scottish authors? So we thought you might want this book, it might appeal to you. And like no obligation to read it or talk about it or anything like that. It was a very sweet and very like thoughtful letter. So I do want to read this. It sounds great. And I put it off till August because that's when it comes out, and I wanted to read it. And you know, if it's something that I really enjoy, then I want to share it. And look at the cover, how cute is that? This is high fantasy, as I think you could probably tell from the shield. I don't remember what this book was about. I had a printout. I'm trying to see if I have it in. No, I tidied. I don't have it. I had a printout that had the blurb on it because there's no blurb on the back of the book because it's an advanced copy. But I know it's high fantasy. I know there is a female main character. I know that there's going to be battles because it's high fantasy. And I remember reading the blurb thinking that sounds amazing. And there's no point in me telling you that because I can't tell you what the blurb was. Well, we're off to a great start. All I remember is I know I want to read this, but I cannot remember too much about it. Rule number 4 is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's blue. Gifted. Rule number 4 is a blue prompt, which is a gifted book. There's a story behind this one. Again, I could have just picked the book that I've just picked, but let's just go with it. This next book, I tried to get a copy from NetGalley for like 4 months. I was trying my best to get a copy, my little grubby mitts, on an e-copy, and I couldn't. My request is still sitting and pending. They won't let me have it. However, I saw that there was a book tour for this book, and I signed up for it because I was like, I want to read this book, and I'm not buying books this year, so I need to, if I want to read a book that's coming out new, I need to either get an advanced copy from NetGalley or be like, hello, can I please read this as part of whatever promo you are doing? And that is what happened with this. I don't know if I'm allowed to read this title out, but let's go for it. Here Lies a Vengeful Bitch by Cody Crowley. This is a YA revenge horror, shall we say? I'm not 100% sure how much we go into the horror elements, but our main character has been unalived, as we say, and is reanimated and is like, do you know what? I'm going out for revenge. I'm going to find out who bumped me off and I'm going to get my own back. The only problem is that she's kind of suffering from a little bit of blanks in memory, you know, because she's dead. And therein lies the story. I have a feeling this is going to be a little bit comedic, or, you know, there's going to be some like light relief. I'm expecting, like, I hate going into books with expectations, but I am expecting there to be some fun dialogue. I'm expecting this to be like quite quotable. I at least hope it will be, because months I've been wanting to get my hands on this. All I asked for was an e-copy and they wouldn't let me have it. So instead I now have a pretty hardback that was sent to me from the USA. Would have been easier to let me have the e-copy, but I'm not going to complain. Love me a hardback that I didn't pay for. 5, yep, rule number 5 is 2, 1, 2, which is pink, and new to me author. Number 5 is a new to me author. I am going with a NetGalley pick here because the reason that I probably didn't get approved on NetGalley is because I've got 21 unread books, but my rating is over 80%. This is The Clique by Rhiannon Barnsley. This is a thriller about a high-flying lawyer who seems to just have it all, living their best life. They are, until they throw themselves out of the window. Defenestration is what happens. That is one of my favourite words, and I like being able to use it in a sentence. And then the book goes on to sort of find out why this happened. And the main character was part of a social society, social group, and kind of delves into what led to this woman feeling like that was all that she could do. Rule number 6 is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have another pink, which is a one-word title. Rule number 7 is a 9. No, that's the end. Rule number 6 was a one-word title. I'm going with Luda by Grant Morrison. This is, I've just realised now, I've got three Scottish authors on my TBR, which is very pleasing to me. This book again takes place in Glasgow, and we have, like my expectations, again, I need to stop getting my expectations up about books, because therein lies the sadness when they don't reach the highs that I have set for them. But my expectations for this are so high. I feel like I'm gonna love it. I feel this is gonna be chaotic, and I crave chaos. This book has got occult goings on. We have a starlet who is a star, and her kind of rival ends up, showgirled, and the replacement is basically a younger version of our protagonist. And there's sort of that bit of like, am I going to be replaced with a younger model of me? And there's just this rivalry, but occulty dealings, and it's set in Glasgow, and people start getting bumped off, and I just think this is going to be spectacular. It is a bigger book, and considering how slow my reading has been in July, I am a fool for picking such a big book, but I don't care because I really, really want to read it. And can we just talk about how gorgeous this cover is? It's so cute. So back to rule 1, I need a book that starts with the last letter of the last book I picked. But I didn't pick a book before this, so instead I'm just going to go with the last letter of the last book that I finished, which feels fair, I think. So the last book that I have finished was The Book Eaters by Sunyi Dean. I didn't like the book, but that's not the point. That book ended with an S. So I am going to go with Sleep Like Death by Kaylin Bayron. I pre-ordered this book last year, so it's one of the very few new books that I have bought this year because it was a decision made by me of the past. I have loved every book I've read by this author, and I have no doubt that I'm going to love this book. This is set in a world where there is sort of like a magical war going on, which kind of seems to be between our main character's family and like the knights. And our main character can draw weapons out of nature, which is very interesting. And she is approached by a knight who sort of tells her some secrets that she's like, I don't know if I can believe you. Her mother, there's something going on with her mother which kind of makes her have a little bit of doubt and sort of thinks, can the knights be trusted? I don't know. And I'm just really excited to read this and just find out what happens. I'm really in the mood for it. Can you tell I'm really in the mood for some fantasy this month? Because I've got a decent amount on my TBR. So this is my physical TBR for August. There's some ebooks and audiobooks on there too, but this is not the end of my TBR. No, because I have books that meet reading goals that I haven't managed to get on my TBR game. So I have a whole gaggle of reading goals that I like to do. I'm not going to pick a book this month for my Kindle Crush goal, because I feel like every month I pick a book for my Kindle Crush challenge, which just has to be a book from my Kindle, and every month I end up picking something else. So I feel I'm just gonna go wild and just not set it in stone and read whatever. Maybe have it as a mood read or something. I don't know, that might work. So for Kayla's buzzword, the prompt was like. I have Sleep Like Death. I have Sleep Like Death. So this counts. Like. didn't even plan that. And then there is the diverse baseline, which I have 3 prompts for this month. First prompt is a book by a mixed race author. I had a book I was going to read and I was so ready to read that book. And then I went to go and get it and found a different book and thought, I actually want to read this other book. So I'm going to go with Eat Up by Ruby Tando, who I absolutely loved on Bake Off. I have actually started this book ages ago. Not a huge way in, but I wasn't in the mood for it. So I soft DNF'd it. I will start from the beginning again because it's been like 3 years maybe since I last picked it up. I just wasn't in the mood and I am now. So I'm going to read this. It's another non-fiction, which again, we're quite heavy on the non-fiction this month, but that's okay. Sometimes that's what you want. And this book is just about like food, basically. Like it's not a diet book or nutrition book or anything like that. It's about like the joy of food and why people enjoy what they like. And I think it's gonna hopefully be like quite a nice, informative, but like quite like heartwarming kind of book. I have a few friends that have read this and they absolutely loved it. So that's why I didn't properly DNF it. I knew I was going to come back to it another time. And that other time is now. The next prompt was an anthology. And I actually put a post-it on my book. So I was ready. It's not about the Burqa, which is an anthology edited by Mariam Khan. This is a book which sort of combines together 17 different women's stories about their own experience of being a Muslim woman. And it's just essays, an essay collection. But I'm very intrigued by this book. I got this quite a while ago and I'm very, very much looking forward to reading it. Another non-fiction. Prompt number 3 was a retelling or reimagining, and that's what we're going with Sleep Like Death. This book is doing a lot of the heavy lifting on my TBR this month. It meets so many of my different prompts, but it's also a book that I really, really want to read, and I actually had hoped to read it last month, but say it with me now, I never had time. My reading's going so badly right now. And the last book on my massive August TBR is for Reed Christie, which is a book that was published in the 1940s or 50s. I'm going with Mrs. McGinty's Dad, which came out in 1952. This is an Hercule Poirot book. It's a murder mystery. It's going to be cozy. It's Agatha Christie. I have nothing else to say. So this is my TBR, my physical TBR for August. It feels manageable. And then I remember there are 2 ebooks and 1 audiobook. So that ends up being 10 books, which I hope I can do. Wish me luck. August is my super duper busy month at work. And I'm doing my course, so super busy with that as well, but I'm hopeful that I'm gonna get them done. Wish me luck. Let me know what you plan on reading in August, and if you've read any of these books, I'd love to know how you got on with them. And thank you so much for watching. I was super rambly today and I don't know why, but here we are. Thanks for watching. Bye.